Happy Halloween! Welcome back to A Frame of Mind. I'm Ashley, here with another video celebrating one of my favorite holidays, Halloween. Since there's only so much to say about this one holiday, I've broken this down into my top 10 favorite movies and candy brands. This list is no reflection or judgment of anyone else's opinions. I'm simply sharing my favorite Halloween staples. Starting at number 10, the 1978 version of Halloween starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Peanut Butter M&Ms. Like Fast and Furious, which is 13 in the making, I can't watch it beyond the first two, unless it's Avengers, Star Wars, or Harry Potter. What I liked about this film was that it wasn't necessarily all blood and gore. It had a great story, building the suspense and amazing tension, not just from Michael, but also from Jamie. It was also unique. It introduced a new concept, being one of the first slasher films in its category. Number 9, The Addams Family, and Sour Patch Kids. I like it if you like it movie, but it has its moments. Everything from the books in their library that aren't just literature. Love to get my hands on that one. Morticia being a fashion and beauty icon. Someday I'll get myself in that Morticia outfit. And of course, Wednesday's classic comebacks.
Is that your bathing suit? Is that your overbite?
Number 8, Paranorman and Dark Chocolate Kit Kats. Even though it's animated, it has the and scenes. Especially that electrified witch. That freaked me out at even 13. And this.
Are they gonna try to eat our brains?
I think you'll be safe.
Oh, thank God.
Number 7, Beetlejuice and Midnight Milky Way. Everyone who's a fan of Michael Keaton's Batman, or the Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming, might not know that back in 1988, he starred in one of Tim Burton's first big films as Beetlejuice. Other characters you might not know that he voiced: Chick, the antagonist from Cars, and Ken from Toy Story 3. Check IMDb if you don't believe me. With Alec Baldwin and Winona Ryder, it has some great acting. But one character that probably doesn't get as much love.
But I must express myself. If you don't let me gut out this house and make it my own, I will go insane and I will take you with me!
Yeah, her. I still haven't dressed up as Sally, which is so weird. I'll get to it eventually. Number 6, Hocus Pocus and Snickers. What's interesting about this film is not just the characters or the filming, but when it was released. Kenny Ortega, the director of this and many other popular Disney movies, Hocus Pocus was originally released in July of 1993. The unusual summer date was because Disney didn't want it competing with the other popular Halloween movie of the same year, The Nightmare Before Christmas. It wasn't a big success when it came out at first, both financially and with critics. However, a couple years later, Hocus Pocus is one of the most popular Halloween movies, mostly airing on Disney and Freeform. It's been rediscovered, in a way, by newer audiences, now with a special every year commemorating the original film, with an extensive costume contest, celebrity performances, and original cast appearances. It's Halloween, you only get to do it once a year. Coming in at number 5, Dark Shadows and Starburst. This Tim Burton movie, starring Johnny Depp, was based on the original 1966 TV show of the same name, starring Jonathan Freed. The show has had a couple revivals, some recasting, and the last few episodes of the last season aired in 1971. The different timelines make it a little difficult to follow, but the sole characters are Barnabas, Elizabeth, Roger, David, and Carolyn Collins, and the 4 women at some point or another that Barnabas has a thing with. Starting off with his one true love, Josette Dupree, who is killed by his secret witch slash ex-lover. So, to get all the story and all the characters into one movie, Tim had to combine the original two separate characters of Maggie Evans and Victoria Winters into one character, who is Josette's lookalike. Just go see the movie. Number 4, Ghostbusters and Lollipops, with a cast of some of the funniest men ever on SNL, and an instantly recognizable theme song and memorable characters. If you haven't looked closely at the credits, you may or may not know that Ray and Egon, Harold Ramis, and Dan Aykroyd, are actually the ones responsible for the movie. They were the ones that came up for the idea, wrote the script, and presented it to Columbia Studios, who supported their vision. They then recruited Bill and Ernie separately. The film was so popular years later that in 2018 they did a remake of it with some of the funniest women on SNL. I love both movies. I'd say overall I love the first one because although they didn't have the film technology that we have right now, the one-liners and the humor is unmatched. For these top 3, it was really hard to choose between which one I liked more than the other. And I could watch all of them over and over again. Here we go with number 3. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and Reese's. Some of you watching may not have read any of Charles Schulz's original comic strips, or watched any of the old specials that cover major holidays and events in history. Charlie Brown is a cultural touchstone, instantly recognizable and very iconic. Charlie Brown and the Peanuts Gang have been around since 1950 when Charles released his first comic in the newspaper. And from there, the rest was history. From the very first little comic all the way up to the 2015 reboot, capturing all the fun of Charlie, Lucy, Linus, Sally, Patty, Marcy, Woodstock, and of course, the one and only Snoopy. Number 2 on the list, The Haunted Mansion and Skittles. The 2004 Disney movie starring Eddie Murphy was inspired by the beloved Disney ride. This is one of my favorite movies and rides of all time, and the last Walt personally worked on before his unfortunate passing in 1966. Look out for my favorite Disney World rides video. As far as the plot, they change it up a little bit from the sort of known story that you're told on the ride, but most of the ghosts on the ride make an appearance in the film, starting off with Master Gracey in the beginning. My dad spent his high school years in LA, so he has that entrance speech memorized. Everyone's favorite, the floating Madame Leota head. Interesting fact, Madame Leota is voiced by Eleanor Audley on the ride, the same woman who voiced Maleficent and Lady Tremaine. You see the groundskeeper and his dog, the hitchhiking ghosts. My favorite are these guys.
Hey guys, keep it down!
We'll keep it down. We'll keep it down. We'll keep it down. Oh yes we will. We'll keep it down. Oh, we're driving down the highway, yeah, and we're trying to keep it down.
Before we get to number 1, here are a few honorable mentions that might not be the first thing that comes to mind, or maybe ones you haven't heard of. The Mistress of the Dark, Elvira, aka Cassandra Peterson. Now, at 60-something, she looks great. Yes, she's admitted to having a little help, but she's a vegetarian, she does not drink, smoke, and has a daily workout routine. Just saying. As Elvis once said about her in an interview, she's really something. And Corpse Bride by Tim Burton, starring 2 of the greatest actors of all time, Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter. This story unfolds with great music and unexpected cameos. One thing I actually noticed about Johnny's personification, Tim actually said in an interview that he made this character look like his idol, Vincent Price. But I think he kind of looks like Jack, maybe before he died, and an older version of this kid from Frankenweenie. What do you think? Finally, my number 1, The Nightmare Before Christmas and Tootsie Rolls. I can't tell you how much I look forward to watching this movie every Halloween and Christmas. Because I can. This was one of my grandma's favorite movies, which makes it even more special to me. Also, that back when this movie was in production, my dad was working in media tech and had to deliver some of his company's technology to the stop-motion set where Tim was working. This cinematic piece of genius actually took 3 years of hard work to make. Although Tim didn't technically direct it, it was his idea, it was his characters, and with the combined efforts of the equally talented Danny Elfman on music. Danny Elfman has also done the music on just about every single Tim Burton movie there is. For this particular picture, he did a little bit more. He actually voices 3 characters in the movie. Beryl, the trick-or-treater, unicycle clown, and he does Jack's singing voice. Nowadays, this picture is not only a reoccurring holiday film, it's a Disney Haunted Mansion holiday takeover, a full stop-motion set that anybody can buy. I'm getting my hands on it, piece by piece. Above all, it's an institution. Instantly recognizable and loved by millions all over the world. Tim's greatest work, by far. Whenever I watch it, I can't help but follow along the songs that I can repeat in my sleep, and one day hope for a
As anyone can see, we're simply meant to be.
moment. One can dream. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And join me next time for my 2-part Alice in Wonderland movie critique video.
Unpleasant dreams.